Cool. But yeah, pink. Cool. And the little worry sign goes round. And there we are, we're live. We're live. Watching the Big Fat Zero. Oh no, there's people there.
We've got two now.
There is people.
If you are watching, do please put hello in the comments so we know who's there. And no, Sue's bored already. So that we know who's watching. And then we'll take
There we go. It says you're live.
I haven't put my phone on silent. I have now.
Cool, that's
Yeah,
silent. Yeah. Otherwise, it'll make all sorts of funny noises.
Let's get my thing up. Facebook.
Joshua's watching.
Ooh.
We can see you.
Technology. Oh, there we are. There we are. Hello, us.
Hi, Kerry.
Hi,
Good
Kerry.
evening, Kerry.
Hello.
Ness, you're watching us. It's come up on my phone that Ness is watching us. Hi, Samantha.
Comes up with the names. It's quite good, isn't it?
Good evening, Lani. Yeah, Facebook doesn't like StreamYard very much for the names, so.
Oh, that's just
that.
Comments. That wasn't on my thing.
It's all good. All good. Good evening. And even if you aren't saying anything, we can see you're watching.
Yeah, it says there are 8 people out there now.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Hi,
Maria. She puts a little rose at the end.
Yeah.
She always does that.
I don't know how to do all of that stuff. That's very technical. So this evening is study hall for all of your students. So look, there's little faces flying up the thing too. Oh, that's clever. I'm so bad. I've had a mobile phone for years and years and years. I probably don't even use half of the stuff you could use it for. You never learn to use all the functions, do you? No. It's a bit of waste, really. Anyway, study hall is here for you this evening. You can ask any questions you want, any questions about the school, about us, about the lessons, about witchcraft in general, about anything we might vaguely know about. Cake.
Bee on my head.
Crochet. Some of the ladies here know about crochet. We did have an emergency crochet meeting this week. So any questions you've got about anything, don't be shy, pop them in the comments and we will do our very best to answer them. This is your hour to ask us whatever you want. You have us pinned down for the next hour, so ask us whatever you would like to ask. There are no silly questions, there are no stupid questions, there are just questions. And if you don't ask any questions, we'll waffle for the next hour about who knows what, really.
Which we can do quite easily.
Which we could do quite easily, yeah. So questions, pop them in the thing. I've lifted some questions off of the Facebook group just in case you're all very shy. So we have got things to talk about. So that's it, really. They're all very quiet this evening.
It does seem quite quiet, doesn't it?
It is. Shh. We'll be quiet and polite. They are. No question.
We'll be bombarded in a minute.
Yeah, there'll be a glitch and all of the questions will suddenly come flying in. I will start then with a question that was asked on Facebook, and it was quite an interesting one. And the question was, how to choose which divination tool works best for you? Runes, tarot, oracle, ogham, bones, whatever it might be. How do you make that decision to what divination tool to use? Any thoughts on that one?
Try them all and see which one resonates with you.
Yeah, it is a bit of that, isn't it?
And what you're drawn to.
Yeah. I think that probably covers a lot of the craft, though, doesn't it? We all work with similar areas, but we all work with different ones too. Heather, you work with the ogham, don't you? I don't work with that. Ness is our rune guru. I don't work with the runes very much other than for spell work. So you're all kind of drawn to different things, aren't you? Sue and I, we work with the tarot, don't we? I think it is a case of trying what works for you. You might get on with it, you might not. You might come back to it too. I think one of the first things I bought a gazillion years ago was the tarot deck, because I thought, we need a tarot deck. And it sat for years because I didn't get on with it. Although I think perhaps with tarot decks, oracle decks, it's more about whether that deck resonates with you or not. The artwork plays quite a key part, doesn't it, in tarot and oracle decks?
There's a lot of them out there now as well, isn't there? I think before just the Rider-Waite generally, and since then it's exploded, isn't it? And there's so many to sort of catch your eye and drawn to.
I think perhaps with something like runes too, they're made of different. You can buy them with different crystals, can't you? Pendulum's the same. That you get different crystals, some that you'll be drawn to, and some you won't. Ogham tends to be on wood, really, doesn't it?
It depends, because if you make your own, you can make them on. I mean, my very first set I made with card. So I have cards. I then got some twigs of silver birch and made my Ogham staves.
Right.
But you can. They're harder to get than runes. There are a few people that do them on Etsy. Not Etsy. But it's better to make your own. I've felt it better to make my own, and they're better made from a natural, something natural, like card from paper or from wood, rather than. There are stone ones, but that they don't tend to work so well, from what I can hear, from other people that have got them.
Yeah. Let's get some of these up. This is Rosemary. I have a set of runes and rune cards along with a pendulum, still trying to learn with the runes. Ness, you use the rune cards as well, don't you?
I find them the ones that I've got are the Runic Oracle by an Etsy user called Etsy. I can't say Etsy either. Called Athene Kana, and she popped these up on. It just come up on Etsy one day, like, oh wow, look at those. And I use them alongside the runes, or sometimes I'll just use them on their own. But there is another sort of a pictorial word, so that gives you something else to focus on. If you're not too sure of the symbols, they do take some learning. Even now, if I'm trying to recite them, I'm thinking I missed one. But the runic cards are quite useful, and you can make some. I can't think of the word now. Where you have the card, you can do a rune, and on the back you can put the meanings that mean to you, and then flashcards. They're quite useful. Yeah. Help you learn, the meanings behind them.
This one's Kerry. With Tarot Oracle, I have numerous ones and some never see the light of the day. Yes. Guilty here too. I think there's another one here. This is Rosemary. I have both Oracle and Tarot, but find the Oracle as my go-to right now. For me, they have different functions. If I want to do a reading to see where I'm going, or, for clarity on the situation, then Tarot is usually my go-to. But I also use tarot as signifiers in spell work. But I think Oracle work really well for spell work, because the keyword's quite prominent on an Oracle card, isn't it? Whereas the tarot, it isn't. So I like Oracle cards for spell work. But I think they have their different places, don't they? And I've done it myself, and I've had readings where tarot and Oracle have been used as well. Both options. It's a very personal thing, isn't it? And I think with those, it's the artwork, isn't it, that grabs you. Who we've got now? That's Eva. Hi, Eva. Rosemary, trying to learn the symbols. Obviously, there are tarot and rune branch classes on the forum. If you want a structure of learning, they are all there, ready for students. Lani loves an oracle deck. Yeah, it's the artwork, isn't it? I think with those that grabs you. We've got another question here. This is Rosemary. How did y'all? I'm British. I'm not sure that comes out quite well. How did y'all come out of the closet to your families and find acceptance? I think my family just knew I was weird, really. I don't think they were overly surprised.
No.
No, I don't think they were really.
I didn't have any problems for my family.
No, I think I was lucky too. I didn't. My boss was probably the more difficult one to come out to. I had to really once I started, doing what I do, being out there. I don't think my mum doesn't understand what I do. She doesn't understand any of it. And I think at first she probably thought this was me just doing another, she's on to that new thing, or this, dipping in and out like I did. I think she just thought I was on another weird obsession, but it stuck. I think it's probably, I can't really, and I know a lot of people have I know a lot of people do have problems with it, but I have to be honest, I haven't had any issues. The only thing I have had is people not believing me. Like people asking me and thinking that it's just Disney and that witches aren't real. That's the only kind of problems, I guess, I've come up against. I have been quite lucky.
I sort of get a what do you actually do question from people. It's like I have this set thing that I do that it's just me. I'm just, what you see, that's it. I don't go off and turn into something else. But my family, my mum, she's, that makes sense, she said, because I'd always been interested in stuff like that from a very young age. She did get quite
skulls.
I went into sort of flowers and girlies and things like graves and coffins and skulls and so they weren't really surprised, and they always find it interesting now whenever I talk about stuff. They always find it interesting.
Anyone else?
No, it's just, I think Rosemary's actually made a good point. I think we're lucky in the UK in that it's just, whereas in some places in America, it is very much frowned upon. I know that when Martin got back in touch with his relatives that live in Louisiana, he was very careful not to mention about me and what I get up to. Simply because I
think that's just a general idea to not tell people what you get up to.
It's a very, very good idea. But when he met them and realised just how
conservative.
That's the word. Thank you. They were. He realised that you don't tell them about me. So I think Rosemary's got a point that there are countries still that. Yeah. The thing is, America is such a big country that there are some areas where it is quite acceptable. There are others where it isn't. And I think not to generalize, but I think America at the moment is going through a lot of issues with the things that they've gone back on 50 years. So
God,
yeah. But we won't get into the politics.
Yeah, no, we don't do politics. That's all very complicated. Good evening, Little Miss Nemo. Good evening, Otika. I'm going down here to see who these are. Who these people are. Let's put. These are all jumped up. Some I'm getting on here, some isn't. Kerry said, "Has anyone got a favourite deck?" I've got my Magpie deck, which is I've talked about before, which is a tarot deck of 138 cards, just randomly from all different decks. But I do like the Thoth deck as well. That one's quite brutal.
Mine at the moment is the Forest of Enchantment one.
That's the one you do your readings from, isn't it? Is that the one you do your weekly readings from? Yeah.
Yes, now that's a good point. Yeah, I feel the same. That's Rosemary. Think you get a clearer picture with oracles and doubt my interpretation with the tarot. That's an interesting one. I with the tarot now, I find I do get clear, brutal answers. For me, the oracle are a bit more gentle. Oracle are kind of, yeah, you know. Tarot are like, I'm telling you this right now, and if you don't listen, it's not my fault.
There's a meme out about that, isn't there?
I think it is very much that. Yeah, definitely. Maria loves Oracle. I love Oracle, even just to shuffle through and look at. Sometimes certain cards will stand out for me, which I then place on my altar. Brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. Yeah, definitely. Rosemary, in the States, I don't feel it is accepted as much as it is in the UK. Yeah, we are very lucky that it is far more acceptable. Lani has a teacup. I'm switching backwards and forwards because some of the comments are coming up and some aren't. So this one is Lani. Have a teacup that I have had in a classroom that says crazy witch lady. All the kids see it and have asked me, and they've been good about it. That's brilliant. That's really good. Oh, my yo came up. I've been practicing. No, I haven't. Debbie, can you talk a little about weather magic? Not got there yet in the Kitchen Witch. Of course, there is. The weather magic is covered in one of the lessons. I think it's in one of the element lessons, isn't it? But there seems to be a lot of changeable weather out there at the moment. I'd like to make the most of it. Yeah, today we have had boiling hot sunshine and thunder and lightning and rain. Yeah, we've had a bit of everything here today.
Well, the space about half an hour, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Anyone got any thoughts on that one?
Well, collecting rainwater.
Can I just mention Jenny? Jenny's got a tarot deck called the Housewives Tarot. Very 50s kitsch. I like the idea of that. Oh, I like the idea of that. Sorry, carry on. Weather. That tickled me. Yes, sorry, Heather, you were saying, I think that was you that was saying something then.
I was just saying, collect the water, storm water, rainwater, thunder and lightning water, whatever.
Yes, collecting rainwater. I felt like Sheldon then from Big Bang Theory. Sorry, I've been watching that. Oh, yes. Yeah, storm water particularly. If you collect the rainwater while the thunder and the lightning's going on ahead, woo, powerful punch.
I didn't do that today. I had a dog on my lap shaking.
Oh, bless her. Yeah, it's quite loud and scary for some dogs, isn't it? It's like fireworks, I guess. Eric wasn't bothered, really. But bless him. He's scared of carrier bags, but not thunder. Someone asked me the other day, actually, as well, about moon and sun magic. It is related, I promise. And whether there was a better season for sun and moon magic. And when I thought about it, I actually do work more solar magic in the summer and more moon magic in the winter. And I think because the evenings are darker in the winter. So when, you've got that long, I'm in bed by the time it's dark in the summer. So yeah, that was quite an interesting thought as well. I'd never actually occurred to me, but I do work more sun magic during the summer months and more moon magic during the winter months.
And there's also, the moon is not just visible at night. The moon can be visible in the day as well.
Yes.
So you can have both. You can have the moon and the sun shining at the same time, which is very bizarre. But
yeah. But weather magic, yeah, I think this is the case of going with the flow because it is so changeable. It's quite unpredictable at the moment, isn't it? But it is very much going with the flow. But it is about capturing that. So like Heather said, you can collect rainwater. Remember to label it. So if it happens to be rainwater on a particular Sabbath, label it, because that will have a different energy. If it is thunder and lightning when you collect your rainwater, make a note of that too, because it will be supercharged. And then you can use the water in spell working or anointing or cleansing your altar or whatever you might want to use it for. There is a lesson about the element of water and working with water magic too. But weather, wind's good for releasing, standing outside when the wind and the rain, really, I guess, isn't it? It's all releasing. Air and water, both releasing. Take advantage of the moment. Would be my recommendation, and trust your intuition what it needs you to do. Yeah. If you get that sudden now I'm thinking back to Witch in Witch ritual that we had, one of the open ones at Queen Elizabeth Country Park, and it was rained off because it was torrential rain. So we all met up anyway at Curie Country Park in the cafe, and someone ran out outside and got absolutely soaked to the skin.
You went for a walk in it, didn't you?
You did, but it was magic.
I've had a lovely pebble though. Do you remember that? That lovely pebble.
But I mean, it was a magical moment, wasn't it? Because you were really connected with it all. In a forest.
Go with what comes to you at the time, and you probably didn't plan it, but it's just that moment. You've got to do it. I think
she wouldn't have been getting back in my car with a soaking wet hand. I'll tell you that.
I think Josh came out.
But I think that is. I think he did. I think it is about it. It's capturing the moment, though, isn't it? It really was stair rod rain, wasn't it? It was torrential. So powerful to connect with that. So I think weather magic is about going with the flow and taking advantage of it when it happens. Trust your intuition on that one, definitely.
I think last year when we had all that heat for so long, the day that it actually rained, Rob and I just, no coats, no umbrellas, just took Deborah for a walk in it. We just went, we're going out in it because it feels so good just to have that on you.
I think I stood out in it, Yeah,
I think we were so relieved. And that is magical, isn't it? Just taking that all in.
Kerry says, how long can you keep the water for?
Depends on what you want to use it for. If you want to keep it and use it, then you need to actually put some alcohol in it to actually kill off any bugs or things, because otherwise it will grow things. Little things will start to appear in the water. So vodka or something added to stave those off. I tend to use mine quite quickly, so I don't tend to store it.
No, I don't. I mean, you can. If you've used distilled water and you've got a sterilized jar, then theoretically it will last for a long while. But I think use it in the moment. You're in the moment, aren't you? I can't see who that is, but my cousin, who's a mother superior, tried to talk to my dad.
That's Maria.
Oh, bless my flower magic deck. Yes, I did design a flower magic oracle deck. I am working on 4 new decks that I've got a contract for, they're all Kitchen Witch ones, which is great fun to do. Another vote for the Forest of Enchantment too. I am going to have a look at that 50s House by Terror. That
sounded really fun.
And we've got Whimsical Tarot. Cards are based on nursery rhymes, fairy tales, and the messages are the meaning behind the tales. Now that is intriguing. That is very intriguing. Let's put this one up. In Oak Lesson 4, it says diary journal should be at least a week. Mine is more than a week, but it's spread over more than one Sabbath period to do a Sabbath capture. Is this okay? Absolutely. Absolutely. Go with what works for you. Yep. With all of the lessons, they are a structure. They are lessons that have been based on, I think we decided we've got over 100 years of experience between us. Not individually. I'm not quite that old. So the lessons are based on our experiences and what we've learned along the way. They are structured to help you get the best out of them. There are some subjects that will resonate with you, others that won't. You are required to do all of the lessons, but they can all be tailored. So if something is uncomfortable for you, if something is not practical for you, you're not allowed to leave it out, but you can adapt it. There are ways and means of making things work for you. So yes, absolutely. Do whatever works for you on that. Where are we? I think that one's Maria, isn't it? Yes, saw the moon for the first time. That was so huge when I was away last Saturday evening. Emotions were quite intense. It can be. That's what she's all about, isn't it? That is what she's all about. Debbie has been doing my Qigong in the rain. Not sure how you pronounce that. Debbie's been doing her thingy in the rain today. Very
That just sounds so wrong.
It does, and it's very spiritual, isn't it? So that sounds perfect. I like rain. I like the sound of rain too.
I like the smell of it.
You know. We did go on a Kitchen Witch Jolly a couple of months back, and we went to somewhere, Roman place. Where did we go when it was down with rain? We walked the walls. Silchester, thank you. We walked the walls of an old Roman town, didn't we? And it was chucking it down. We got absolutely soaked to the skin, but it was brilliant. So if you're prepared for it, then it's good. This is Lani, like sitting in my kitchen with the window open, listening to the rain and that smell you get from the fresh rain. Very calming and helps me to de-stress over anything that's been a challenge and that has an impact on me. It's water. It's water magic. It's the element of water, bringing that whole releasing stuff in, isn't it? Jackie has huge thunderstorm. Yeah. Draw on that energy. That's some supercharged nature's energy for the thunderstorm. Yeah, brilliant for working magic in. Michelle, currently listening, watching a storm. Love them. Oh, Jenny's put the link in the school. Thank you, Jenny. I think we're all going to be buying Housewife.
Sounds really interesting. What is strange is that I'm very nervous of thunder. Have been as long as I can remember. And even now.
Was as a kid. Yeah. Not now. It's not the thunder you've got to worry about, though, is it? It's the lightning.
Yeah, it's just that sort of rumble. Just as soon as it starts, get quite nervous. So there is an energy attached to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Why it makes me nervous.
Lani, she's got the Star Trek tarot deck. I didn't know there was one of those. Okay, we're going to have to make a list.
Should we? Yeah, behind it.
Put the link, Lani, because Rachel needs that.
That's another one I need. That is another one I need. That's genius. Trekkie here. Sorry. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Be in a basket before the hour's up.
Oh, this is a good one. This is Maria. Yes. Thunder and lightning reminds me of Magrat screaming, "When shall we meet? When shall we three witches meet again?" Well, I'm free on Tuesday. Yeah. Terry Pratchett. If you don't get it, why not? That's, Terry Pratchett.
I was going to say, looking at that one up there.
We'll get you there. Even Eric disagrees. That's the word, isn't it? petritor. Oh, for goodness sake, that word. Smell of rain.
Mm.
Oh, velitor. Oh, that makes sense. Velium is the smell of old libraries.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
jumper knitting pattern called velitor. Oh dear. This one is Kerry, taking a self-care sabbatical from the lessons at the moment, going back to my roots of crystals at the moment. Just bought a book called Crystal Magic. I think you know it. Might be familiar with that one. Which does actually lead us to
that author that we met. You know, that Rachel Patterson?
that really annoying one that never shuts up. I've just signed a contract for another book as well, by the way. But anyway, that's that's another thing. Which actually is another question that someone asked. How do you get started on your stash of herbs or crystals? Which, you know, I think it's one of those things that you just start buying everything, don't you? Think you need everything. And we were talking about our crystal stashes the other day. We all have a lot of crystals. Do we all use them? All of them?
No.
So I actually, Sue, I think you said the other day you have a core range of crystals now, one for each intent.
Yeah.
Is that what you say?
Yeah. The thing is, I've got so many that really, no, I think that was it. You only need one for each intent, but I've got, I couldn't even count them. I don't think. Ridiculous.
That does make sense.
I was very good at the festival, at the pagan tribal gathering. I didn't even look at the crystals. I've got enough.
I think, yes, I like the idea of having one for each intent. That kind of makes sense. Sorry, I'm just checking all of those. And I think we've all done the same with our herbs as well, haven't we? We've all, I think, Ness, I was talking to you about it, and I think we've all done the same. My stash of herbs it started small and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now it's getting back down small again. I'm getting rid of the stuff that I've never used, that I don't use. And there are a core of ones that I tend to use more than others. And I think, again, Ness, I think we were having this conversation. We just go to the kitchen cupboard now.
Yeah, I found that either my garden cupboard, I had a sort out of my sort of stash, and there was some that were barely recognisable from what they should be. And
Dust. Or grey, where they all fade. They're no longer green.
Bizarre, you know. It all got offloaded into the garden, so I dread to think what's going to come up next year because it just all went out there. But looking around my garden, I'm like, well, there's rosemary growing in abundance, and lavender, sage, bay, rose petals, like everything, any intent. I mean, I have cloves and black pepper and all sorts of spices and herbs for cooking in my kitchen cupboards. I'm like, I don't really need to keep a stash. If I particularly obviously wanted to dry something, that would be different. But yeah, I just pretty much go with what's at home. So I think
Heather, you're nodding because you make a lot of the potiony, lotiony things too, don't you?
Yeah, so I went through. Yeah, so I started off just with a few bits and pieces, and then it grew and grew and grew and grew. And I would say at the moment, my essential oils, I've probably only got about 10 left now that I actually use. Herbs are gradually getting thinned out because I've got a separate stash where they went out of date in the kitchen. They got put out into the other cupboard.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that the other day, and I actually went through some of it and did throw some of that out. But yeah, I need some time to actually, because really, I hardly ever use it. I go to what's in the kitchen. I go to what's in the garden. But the joy today, because I thought I'd missed them, I actually found some flowering St. John's wort.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because I thought I'd missed it.
She's frozen. Flowering. Missed that.
It's usually about summer solstice, isn't it? That's when it flowers.
And I wanted, and there is a patch quite near to where I am. But when for whatever reason, I was working and I couldn't get there. And by the time I did get there, they'd all gone over. I went for a walk today round the other way, long, big walk. and there was a patch still flowering. Yes.
Wow.
So I've got my oil,
Cool.
you know,
Oh yeah.
steeping. So yes, very excited.
Brilliant. Yes.
So I think the answer to that is that you do. I think when you start witchcraft, I did the same. I had this whole big long list of stuff that I needed. Okay, I need candles in all the different colours. I need all the magical tools. I need wands and bells and chalices and athames. And I did get most of it. Some of it duplicate. But then you kind of go to a stage and then you go backwards, don't you? And you start getting rid of it all because you don't use it. I think it's nice to work with, and it's nice to have stuff and follow your intuition about what you want to use and how you want to do it. But I think you kind of go round in a full circle with witchcraft. You start with nothing but wanting everything, and you get it all, and then you kind of whittle it down a bit. But I would have to say, I think we probably all just use our kitchen cupboards now, generally, don't we? All gardens, what we've got.
It's like a space as well, isn't it? I mean, I haven't got loads of space to do things.
And tea bags.
Tea bags, yes, herbal tea bags, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. There's a question there. Do you keep the crystals together even though they have one intent each?
No, not really. I've got like the tumblestones are in little the bead boxes with the little sections in, and I've got like one for the oranges and yellows, one for the blues, one for the purpley kind of colour. They're all different colours more. And then the slightly bigger ones are in bigger sectioned boxes, and then the really big ones are around the house, all over the place.
I've had them. I've had big dishes. I've had them all thrown in the same place, which is when you end up with a load that you don't know what they are.
I've got some of them as well.
But I have mine are in the cases you use for screws and nails and
same thing.
With the little drawers. They're really good for storing them, and most of them are labelled. They're in little drawers with what they actually are. But when I go to use one, I use colour magic more than anything else. I'll go, right, I'm doing a prosperity spell, so green aventurine because it's green, malachite because it's green, healing, blue lace agate because it's blue. You've got to be drawn with crystals, I think, haven't you? But I don't think you need loads of big crystals either. The tumblestones are brilliant for working magic. You don't need to spend a lot of money. And if you only want one crystal, clear quartz, it's a clear quartz, does everything.
Definitely,
really good all rounder. So I think there does seem to be different thoughts, isn't it? You've got to keep them all separate, or you put them all together, or no, because when you use them, you charge them with the energy and the intent that you want them to do, and when you finish with them, you cleanse them. So the energies don't kind of rub off on it. It's not like when it's not like putting a piece of fish next to a bit of chocolate cake in the fridge, is it?
I love that comparison. That's brilliant.
I'm hungry. I haven't had my dinner yet. Can you tell? Debbie says crystal grids. There's a lesson on crystal grids too. They are a good way. I love working with crystal grids. I love working with Crystal Grids Plus. I think we made a video actually, didn't we, of us putting one together where you use crystals and herbs and candles and oracle cards, and fabulous way of working magic. This is, I don't know who this is. My phone's decided to throw a wobbly and it's lost everything. So my staff, do we know who that is?
Yeah, it's Parrot Nutter.
Thank you.
Nutter.
David.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, we just want the recipe. That's
my stash of herbs
are in the same cake, and they're not giving the recipe.
Yes, except the nettles. Baked a lovely nettle cake and one with touch. Yeah, nettle makes really nice soups. And
yeah, I add it to soups and stews and things.
it makes disgusting tea. But I mean, believe it's good for you. I think it tastes disgusting. But I've had it in, yes, yeah, I've had it nettle soup. That's lovely. Yeah, but I think that's part of being a kitchen witch, isn't it? Putting all your magic is in your kitchen cupboards. So yeah. This is Jenny. It's old midsummer today, I think, taking into account the missing calendar days. Yeah, we're about 2 weeks out when the calendar's changed. So there's about 2 weeks difference between the Julian and the Gregorian calendars. So good day to harvest herbs. It is raining though. It doesn't feel like midsummer. Well, actually, the heat feels like midsummer today. But thank you for that, Jenny. Yes, that's very useful to remember that the calendar is out. This is Kerry. Just bought some largest velvet bags and want to put all the colours together. At one stage I had all of my crystals just in Tupperware boxes, blue crystals, purple crystals, red crystals, because I do work a lot with magic. Go with your intuition. Go with your intuition about how you keep them. And I think this is Maria. You just know which crystal to use. Yeah, absolutely. Follow your intuition. You don't need to know the name of it. You don't need to look the properties up. Although, obviously, if you want to, I know someone that's written a book about it. Trust your intuition. Most of my spell work is done like that. I mean, you get to a stage, don't you, where there are herbs that you use for certain things. You get your go-to herbs, don't you? So I use cinnamon in a lot of stuff. I use it for success. I use it for love. I use it for all kinds of relationships. Basil and mint are probably my two herbs for prosperity spells. They're my kind of go-to. You get a kind of the herbs that you use quite often, and you know what you use them for. But just because I use cinnamon for success doesn't mean it's going to work for the next person. So all of that comes with actually doing it. Got to do it to connect with the energies. You've got to do it to know which herbs work for you in the spells. You've got to know, that comes with experience, I think, doesn't it? Using the same herbs and getting your own little favorites, I guess. And it's same with crystals, really, I guess, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you have your core, the ones that you get drawn to, the ones you use the most.
I don't know. This is Lani. Lani loves her crystals. Often do little bags of crystals for something specific, such as protection, prosperity, courage. That way I can carry them around with me or have them in place in the house. Plus it stops Amy from getting her hands on them. My daughter carried a little bag of crystals throughout school with her as protection against bullying, and she still carries it now because she's a teaching assistant, so she's still at school. So she's still got the little bag of crystals in her handbag. Yeah. But I think particularly with children as well, they're drawn to certain ones and they do like working with crystals. And I think that it's worked for both my kids. When they've got an issue or a problem, here's all the crystals or all the herbs. Let's make a little pouch, and you let them choose which ones they are drawn to. And I guarantee you, they will always choose the right ones. They just know, don't they? They just know. What we've got here? All more nettle. You can use the young nettle tops in spring salads. They shouldn't sting. That would be a very uncomfortable salad, wouldn't it? This one is this is Lani. I have done teas mixing herbs together. The taste testing was fun. I'm not a huge fan of most herbal teas, I must admit. I like licorice. I like mint. Chamomile tastes of grass. Nettle tastes of grass. In fact, a lot of them taste of grass. My My herbal teas end up being more honey than actual herbs.
Yeah, sweeten them.
Yeah. Sue, you drink a lot of herbal teas,
I
don't you?
do, yeah.
What was that one you said about the other day? Lavender and something, wasn't it?
Oh, it's lavender and chamomile, but they've stopped doing it in the cafe, haven't they?
It's probably because it tasted like soap.
No, I think it was the right kind of balance. It was really nice. But I've got all that at home. I can make it myself.
Feel it becomes second nature, says Maria. I think with a lot of this stuff, though, it is intuition, isn't it? And that takes a while to learn to trust your intuition. And I know the times that I haven't listened to it, I have come a cropper. And even now, I still do it on occasion where I don't listen to that little voice or loud voice. And it goes completely pear-shaped. Yeah, but I think that takes time and experience. But all of this stuff, I started my journey reading books because it was pre-internet and that's all you could get. And I read book after book after book after book. It wasn't until I actually started doing the stuff that I started learning to trust my intuition and learning more. Really, you've got to work with spells to know what works and what doesn't work. You've got to work ritual to know what works and what doesn't work, and to get the feel of it. You've got to work with the elements to understand how they all fit into the scheme of things. So it is. I think it's about doing it, isn't it? And that all comes with experience. There isn't really any shortcut. Witchcraft and spells are not a quick fix, and I get a lot of emails about that. People that aren't witches that want a spell because they want this fixed or that fixed or instant stuff. Although that's probably the world we live in really at the moment, isn't it, I suppose? That's me being a bit... Okay, Little Miss Nemo, daughter loves her crystals. Shiny, pretty. Amy loves crystals. Yeah, kids like them. They are drawn to them, aren't they? Oh, yuck. Mugwort and mint. Mugwort is nasty. I'm going to judge all of your herbal tea combinations now. You would vast amounts of honey with dandelion tea. Yeah, you wouldn't. I would just eat the honey and forget the tea. This is Kerry. I don't like herbal teas. Best to room sprays. And Jackie says, how do you change them to room sprays? Do one of you guys? Because I talk a lot, and you guys know.
Well, I'd make a tea with them and let it cool down and spray it. But I mean, that's Kerry. See if she'll answer how she's done it.
Herbal tea bags are actually really useful, aren't they? See, I said I wouldn't talk, and now I am. Heather, talk about herbal tea bags and their other uses. Go.
Okay, so herbal tea bags can be used in the bath. They can be used for floor washes. They can be used for doing sigils to protect the protection around the house. And like Sue said, you'd make it up as a tea, let it cool down. I'd actually probably add some isopropyl alcohol to make it last longer. And then I would use it as a room spray.
Yeah, you just need those little spritzer bottles, don't you?
Yeah.
And if you're boiling the water, then you distill it. So you've got to boil it to make the herbal tea, haven't you? So it's all distilled water. Yeah, and then just chuck it in a bottle. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Simples.
Yeah, that.
We had a lot of questions.
What?
Have we? They haven't asked a lot of questions.
No, they're making us work for it today. This is David. The only herbal tea I've got the wrong one. It jumped. We'll come back to that one. This is David. The only herbal tea I brew is usually for the house spirits. They have their own mug that sits on the fireplace. They're welcome to the herbal tea. But I love that you're making offerings to the house spirits. I do the same. I have an altar for the house gods and the household spirits, the spirit of place. I think it's really, really important to connect with the spirit of place. This is Lani. I like blackberry leaf tea and lemon balm tea. I like blackberry crumble.
Lemon balm tea is lovely.
Blackberry jam.
Blackberry jam. Oh yeah, blackberry jam. Yum. David, yeah, I think we got a new line for you, Heather. Sigil tea bags. There's definitely a market there. Yeah, put that on your list of things to make.
Okay.
Yeah, this Kerry. Make the tea, let it cool down. Don't add the honey. Yeah, don't put honey because it will clog up the little spritzy.
It's gunk it all up, won't it?
Little Miss Nemo. The sky isn't blue. You ask the questions, Heather. This is what you get. The sky isn't actually blue. There's something technical about it being reflections of
very
stars.
grey at the moment. I don't
Yeah.
know. Blue.
Oh yeah, now I'm really, really hungry. Apple and blackberry crumble. Lots of custard.
Done it now.
Stop it. So the other question we had was about the basics of setting up an altar. Now there is a lesson on altars and magical tools, and I have done a couple of my chats about setting up altars as well. But I think this is another one that changes over time as well, doesn't it? My original training was Wicca, so altars were very structured. You had to have goddess on the left, god on the right, representations of all four elements. You had to have your chalice and your athame and your wand all in particular places. Very structured. That went out the window quite quickly. I think altars are personal, aren't they? I think they're also fluid. I think they change. I mean, we all follow very similar paths, but I bet our altars are all different.
Yeah.
And you add, don't you? And then you take away when you feel like it.
Mine have gone from that size to huge, great things with everything on them. And now it's down to like a log slice with mainly sort of altar to, yeah. But my altars are not just in one place either. I have obviously a main one, but then there's an altar in my kitchen, there's an altar in my hallway, and there's an altar in my garden. So they're sort of spread about now.
I think your whole house ends up an altar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I think it is another one where you go with what works for you. Start with an empty space, find an empty space. When I was learning with Wicca, the altar had to be in north as well. And that doesn't always work, does it, with your house? You don't always have that space. But I think, what have I used? I've used shelves. Not so good if you want to burn candles, because it burns the shelf above it. I speak from experience. And candles too close to the wall will send candle grease all up the wall. I've got one in the garden as well, just a stone in the garden that I use as an altar. But I've had sideboards and occasional tables, kitchen table at once. Even on my desk has had little corners of my desk that have had altars on them. If you are still in the closet, you could make an altar on a tray and put the tray in a cupboard, shut the doors on it, and then get it out when you need it. Or some very lovely ladies, and I think Jenny was one of them, did altars in dishes. So you just have a dish or a big bowl and you put your altar bits in there, which I think
Who was it who did that one on the cake stand? Was that Tony?
That's Tony. She has a 3-tier cake stand.
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely amazing idea. To go with what works for you. And an altar can just be a vase of flowers on your kitchen windowsill. It doesn't have to be anything more complicated than that. So there isn't any real answer to that one. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Sometimes space is a problem as well, isn't it? So even a corner of a windowsill or something, you don't have to have huge tables or anything like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they don't have. It doesn't have to be an obvious altar.
No.
You know, a little statuette of, you know, I've had plastic toys before now. A unicorn. I had a unicorn for a little while. That grew out of an egg. It's a whole different story. But anyway, you know, it doesn't have to be an obvious thing. It's what it represents for you.
I had a Playmobil wild boar on my altar once because I didn't have a wild boar ornament, so I nicked the one out of my son's Playmobil set. Yeah, it has got it.
Yeah.
Let's get some of these up. Debbie, first cup of the day, Camellia sinensis. Yep, absolutely. Ordinary tea, chasing away brain fog, bringing clarity of thought, opening the channels to the wisdom of them. And then, yeah, coffee does the same thing. Coffee is really good in magical spells for clarity and giving everything a boost. Do you remember the old Mr. Kipling individual black apple and blackberry pies? It's been apple and blackcurrant for the... Oh, has it? Oh, I didn't know that. I don't buy Mr. Kipling. You can't change that to blackcurrant. That's wrong. This is Kerry. Do the house spirits mind if you offer them a tea that you wouldn't drink yourself? Actually, I was thinking about this the other day and about offerings. Offerings really are a way of sacrifice, aren't they? Actually, I was writing about it. In the old days, animals would be sacrificed. Humans sometimes, but let's not go there. So offerings are really another form of sacrifice, but a kinder one. I do think that offerings should be something that you like, something that you're giving up. So I have a Ganesha statue and I work with him when there's any obstacles. He loves cakes and sweet things. So I give him chocolate bars, but I don't give him the old, Bounty chocolate, coconut chocolates in the bottom, the Quality Street box that no one eats. He gets the nice chocolate bars that I like because I think offerings should be a sacrifice of sorts. Different, I suppose, if you feel that the deity wants something specific that you don't like. But I do feel that offerings should be a kind of sacrifice, something that, you don't really want to give up. I don't want to give up my chocolate, but I do because it's a sacrifice thing. This is Rosemary. I want to make a monthly holiday altar and another one or two for specific deities once I find who I connect to. You will find once you have one altar, they grow. It's like crystals and tarot decks. Once you've got one, you don't stop there. Miss Nemo, my little altar can only be against the south wall in the room as there's no north wall. And I think that's absolutely fine. I have, in fact, Ganesha is on my south wall. Yeah. The one behind me is never eat shredded wheat. West. I think it has to fit. It has to fit for you. Absolutely. What else we got? Clear the shelves of the unused herbs and replace with books and more decks. Yeah, I like your thinking. I like your thinking, Kerry. This is Jenny. Yeah, Tony's amazing. Even her hot chocolate bars. She sets up bars for hot chocolate. So she'll have this little shelf unit thing in her kitchen and it's got all these different types of hot chocolate powder and then all the marshmallows and the chocolate buttons and all the bits. It's amazing. I am going to be adopted by Tony, I think.
That sounds amazing.
I want to go live with Tony. She has amazing things. This one is Maria. I think my last offering was half a penguin bar because I could bear parting with the whole one. Now that's interesting. Was your request granted, or was only half of it granted?
Granted. I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Interesting. This one, good sacrifice offering for house spirits I do is give them the first slice of freshly baked cake. When we've had our open rituals, we always give some of the cake because we have cake at rituals. Some of the cake and some of the drink gets offered to the ground, to the ancestors, to the spirits of place. I like that idea. That works for me. As long as I get sent a bit as well, that's fine. This one's David. My house likes me. I think it's really important. It's lovely to hear that you do that because I work with Spirit of Place a lot. I think you have to connect with the energy of your house, with the land that it's on, with the energies of it. I think it's really important. I think we all do, don't we? We all work that way.
Well, you're within it, aren't you? And it looks after you. If the word is sanctuary and your space. And, yeah, definitely.
Okay, now you've got about 20 milliseconds to ask any questions other than us waffling about stuff. Maria has tomatoes. There you go. She has 4 tiny tomatoes. See, if you'd given him the whole penguin bar, you might have got 8.
And they'd be bigger.
I think it is about, again, we're back to intuition. I've known people give offerings of chocolate M&Ms or chocolate buttons or putting plastic beads on altars. And then I've heard other people go, oh, no, you can't put plastic, you can't put chocolate. You can. You have to trust your intuition and what you feel needs to be the offering. You've got to trust what you need to give. It has to be right for you. I've put some bizarre things on altars before now because it's felt like the right thing to do. Absolutely. This one is Jenny. What do you think of the efficiency of collective spellcasting where beings send out intent globally? Okay, I have quite strong views on this one. You're unsurprised, aren't you? So I will go, but I will let you guys talk as well, I promise. I have 2 thoughts here. Actually, there's a new book out by Moira and Mr. Heselton, and it's called The Cone of Power, and it is about the New Forest Coven that during the Second World War got together and raised energy to affect the weather patterns so that the German planes couldn't fly across. That's a coven, and it worked. It was effective. It literally was brilliant. But they were a coven. They were a coven that worked closely together, that worked very closely together. They knew each other. They trusted each other. If I was to work a joint spell with these ladies on the screen, I would have absolute no problems with it. I would be no issues at all because we know each other, we work together, we know how we work. There's trust involved there. Well, I would know that we were all working for the same goal. If you put out a spell on the internet for lots of people to work, and people do it, about, world peace. I know people did it a lot for politicians. Everyone might have slightly different ideas for the intent. If you're working with a lot of people that you don't know, you can't guarantee that they're all working for exactly the same intent. I don't think anything horrible would happen, but I don't think it would be very successful. I think for a group to work with a collective spellcasting, you need to know and trust those people and know that how they work, because otherwise people interpret intents or goals differently. So for me, it would have to be a close group. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
I think you've all got to know what the other intent is for everybody. I've never taken part in any of the collective spellcasting with people that I don't know.
The energy it wouldn't build to the same extent. It would just fizzle. Just fizzle.
And you don't know what, one person, 10 people, 20 people you might be working to change, a political stance. A handful of the people within there might want to get rid of the politician completely in not very nice ways. Understandable, but so most of you will be working at slightly different intents. That's my. I know.
Interesting.
It has been successful, like I say, with the New Forest Coven, but they were very experienced and very used to work. And that's the other thing. If you get people that aren't experienced with spell working, because spell working is a big responsibility. Any spell working is a responsibility. You have to be responsible for what you put out there. So, for me, it would be a no. But,
and you can change, I say not being sort of political, but you could sort of all go up there to get rid of a certain person. The person that takes their place could be 10 times worse.
Yeah. I think we've been there and done that before, haven't we?
You just don't, like you say, it's taking responsibility for it. Know that you may get the outcome that you work for, but what's going to fill that space?
Cool. Interesting question, though. Thank you for that one. Right. This is David. Do you think it's important to put elements in the same place? North earth, east air, etc. Been finding since I've moved from where I grew up, they felt to have moved for me. I'm now seeing air in the north, water in. So I started doing my Wednesday talks about the elements. We talked about the elements as a whole, and then we talked about earth. I will do air in a couple of weeks as well. We'll do them all. The north earth, as you've got them listed there, is very Wiccan, very traditionally Wiccan. It's what I was taught, so it's what I work with. We've been at rituals where the elements have been moved in their directions, and it's felt really weird, but only because I think that's not what I learnt. However, when we've done rituals at the ocean, on the seafront, we have used where the water is as west, regardless of the cardinal points on the compass, and it's worked brilliantly. I think you have to go with what works for you. Do we all kind of,
Great.
If you're feeling that, then go
they
with
are
it.
the traditional directions, but it doesn't mean they're the right ones for everyone.
And they're only traditional since Gerald Gardner put them down on paper.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So go for it.
Go with what feels right for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, one here, and then I think we were pretty much out of time. Well, we're over time because it's us. This is Maria. Probably easier if done face-to-face, but online spellcasting would be more tricky to make sure everyone's on the same page. That for me, that's it. I love the idea. I love the idea of all the spellcasters coming together for world peace. And if people want to do that, I go for it. But for me, I think there are too many variables in it. I like to do combined spellcasting with people that I know and trust. But there you go. Oh, bless you, Rosemary. You're very welcome. Little Miss Nemo. Knowing your spell workers does make sense. So we're having a bit of break from doing online rituals throughout the summer, but we've got a whole new lineup and a way of doing it, so that it is accessible to everyone, no matter where you are in the world. And we're hopefully doing them more regularly come October, and then they'll be rolling through. We will still be doing the study halls throughout the summer, though. But we're here. HQ email, support email, message us. Don't get stuck on any lessons. Don't think you've got stupid questions. Reach out to us. That's what we're here for. Let's be honest, it makes us feel useful. So if you have got any questions at all, message us. And if you don't stop. Don't think I'm stuck on that lesson and twiddle your thumbs for ages. Just message us. We're here to help, really. So thank you for joining us all. Yes, keep those jugs handy for the ever-changing weather. Yes, always keep your jugs handy. Otika worked with an online coven in years past. Being online wasn't an issue. No, I don't think online is the issue. I think it is the fact that you need to know the people that you work with, online or face-to-face, working a joint spell. You need to know the people. That's my thoughts anyway. Doesn't mean it's right. I'm not always right. Don't tell my husband, but I'm not. So we are here. We are here for you. So don't get stuck. Reach out, even if it's not about witchcraft and you're just feeling a bit the lonely witch in the town kind of thing, reach out. And please use the forum as well and the Facebook group, and reach out to your fellow students. We're a community. We like to work as a community, so help each other out too. So thank you everyone for joining us. Have a fantastic, where are we now? Rest of the weekend. And
Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And if you would like us to talk about anything particular or do anything particular within the school, message us and let us know. We always like ideas. So take care, everyone. Thank you.